Flash flooding a real concern across central and eastern Kentucky over the next couple of days. We'll track rounds of thunderstorms just ahead.
A 26-year-old man who police say owned a pack of dogs that mauled a woman is back in court, this time for another animal cruelty case.
A new scam called card cracking is targeting college students. What you need to know to protect yourself, coming up.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening. Ready or not, here come more storms. Lots of places are getting heavy rain right now.
And with so much rain in the forecast, we are tracking the threat of some flash flooding. We have declared a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has the latest warnings for us. Chris, it is coming down right now here at the station.
Yeah, it is. You can hear it on the rooftop here right now with a big-time thunderstorm that has developed across the bluegrass region. Flash flood watch is out for all of central and eastern Kentucky. Flash flood warnings are out for parts of southern Kentucky. That does include Somerset in Pulaski County, as we figured that was likely in the making with those thunderstorms that keep moving over some of the same areas. Let's get you up close and personal on the storms now. Pretty healthy little line. Not talking about a lot of severe weather. These are just some major rain producers from Harlan back into parts of Bell County, the Knox County area, moving into Clay County and up toward the London area as well. Manchester, that is getting ready to work on into town. Pulaski County with that flash flood warning that is out. The heaviest rains are now just off to our north toward the Waynesburg area, though another round of some moderate to locally heavy rain pressing on into town, and flash flood warnings continue for those counties bordering Tennessee as well. Look at the lightning that is increasing here across the Mount Vernon area of Rockcastle County. McKee into Jackson County. Get ready for that. Richmond down toward Berea. Showers, thunderstorms moving in. Here's the big rainmaker that you may hear through my microphone as of right now that is setting up shop across parts of the east side of Lexington from Red House in northern parts of Madison County into the bluegrass region. This is our live sky cam. That's how hard it's raining. You can't see beyond the camera lens right here. You can't even see Winchester Road. That's just literally a few hundred feet out in front of the station. All those thunderstorms continue to work in from west to east, and unfortunately, we've got a lot more to go through over the next few days. We'll have some new rainfall totals when I come back in about 10 minutes.
Thanks, Chris. And if you have eyewitness photos or videos to send us, just look for the eyewitness section on WKYT.com or post them to our Facebook page.
He could be facing even more charges. Right now, Chris Pope faces charges in Lincoln County after investigators say 7 of his dogs attacked a woman last week.
But during a hearing in Boyle County today, prosecutors said they're preparing to press charges against Pope in connection to 11 dogs rescued from a property in Danville. Mark Barber was at that hearing and has the latest in our top story at 5:30.
The judge set another case review for Christopher Pope a week from today because the prosecuting attorney says more charges will be filed against the 26-year-old in another animal cruelty case. Pope is already charged with harboring vicious animals. Police tell us he owned the 7 Presa Canarios that nearly mauled his Lincoln County neighbor to death in her yard 9 days ago. The prosecuting attorney is now preparing to press more charges against Pope in another case. Authorities say when they raided a home on Old Shakertown Road in Boyle County last week, they found about a dozen dogs that Pope was keeping in a home. That house has since been condemned because the living conditions were so poor. The rescue dogs are in a shelter, but the ones involved in the Lincoln County attack may be killed.
Safety of the public is involved here, and it's a very difficult call.
An animal rescue group in Kansas City is now involved in the case. They're trying to get temperament testing for the dogs to see if they can be rehabilitated. As for Pope, he's out on bond. When we pressed him for answers. Anything you guys would like to add?
Politely said, no comment, okay, but thank you for asking. No comment.
Can you please assist him? He's violent. It's harassing.
Thanks.
This case is far from over, but this morning the judge did say that Pope cannot own or care for any other animals due to the nature of the charges against him. In Boyle County, Mark Barber, WKYT.
We're told the dogs escaped from the home in Lincoln County and attacked the woman when Pope was not at the house. The victim, Loretta Stevens, is still recovering from her injuries.
A Northern Kentucky sheriff's deputy accused of handcuffing 2 elementary school children is being sued by the American Civil Liberties Union. The federal lawsuit claims that Kenton County Sheriff's Deputy Kevin Sumner handcuffed the children. The incident was caught on video. Both children have been diagnosed with ADHD and other disabilities. Their lawyer says the deputy's actions are inexcusable.
I think the sheriff needs to read Kentucky law, and Kentucky law has spoken on the issue and is very clear. You can't use handcuffs. It's not an easy job for anybody to work in a school system, but it's very easy not to use handcuffs and have 8-year-old children's first experience with law enforcement.
In a statement, the Kenton County Sheriff said his deputy did what he was sworn to do and that all of the facts have not been presented.
An Eastern Kentucky community is remembering a young woman killed in a crash yesterday. Our county by county coverage at 5:30 begins in Johnson County. Police say 21-year-old Jenna Hall died after hitting another car head-on along Kentucky 40 in Paintsville. Friends tell us Hall was planning to study dental hygiene at Big Sandy Community and Technical College this school year.
She'd been married just a few weeks, and she was getting ready to start school. The world was at her fingertips. She had everything waiting on her. Her life was exactly where she wanted it. It was perfect.
The driver of the other vehicle was taken to Pikeville Medical Center. Funeral arrangements for Hall have not yet been finalized. In Wolfe County, volunteers will be back out this weekend searching for a missing camper. State police say 31-year-old Josh Adkins Reisner of Richmond went missing from Coomer Ridge Campground Saturday. His family says he has a mental illness. The terrain in the Red River Gorge is making the search difficult, and volunteers say they've had to go to their other jobs this week. They plan to be back out Saturday searching for Adkins.
2 state senators are trying to adjust Kentucky's school calendar and save the summer. Senator Chris Girdler of Somerset and Senator Damon Thayer of Georgetown plan to file a bill that would prevent schools from starting earlier than the first Monday closest to August 26th. The senators claim the bill would help Kentucky's tourism industry and overall economy. And that bill comes as one of the largest school districts in the state kicks off its school year. Today was the first day of school in Scott County, and it was the first day of a new traffic change to Cardinal Drive. To help with traffic this school year, Cardinal Drive will be 1 lane from Long Lick Pike to US 25. The change runs from 7:45 a.m. to 9 a.m. each day as students are getting dropped off at school. We're told that there were some bottlenecks and backups this morning, but police say they don't think it will be an issue throughout the year.
There's a lot of factors that you got to take into consideration. This is the first day of school. You have parents that take their kids to school on the first couple of days of school that normally do not. So there will be several of those, or a lot of those will actually be bus riders now.
And this note, Cardinal Drive will also be down to 1 lane when school is dismissed from 3 p.m. to 4:15 each day.
The Kentucky Board of Education is still sorting through applications for Education Commissioner, but they have named an interim commissioner. Today, the board named Kevin Brown as the interim. He'll take over commissioner duties on September 1st. The current Commissioner of Education, Terry Holliday, will retire on August 31st. The board plans to interview candidates for the job next weekend in Louisville. A new state office in Frankfort is still about a year from opening, but today they celebrated a milestone. Governor Steve Beshear and dozens of state officials celebrated the topping out of the state's new 370,000 square foot office building. The final beam of the 5-story building was bolted into place today. The building is being built through a public-private partnership.
I think it's the future of how government gets a lot of buildings built. The public-private partnership is definitely the best way, I think, to go right now, particularly with the economic situation across the country as well as Kentucky.
The arrangement allows the construction of the building by the bidder at no upfront cost to the state, which will own the building after the 30-year lease period. The building is scheduled to be done next summer.
College students beware. A new scam known as card cracking could land you in serious debt. As Sam Dick reports, social media and rap music play an integral role in the scam that could have lifelong consequences.
Solicitations look like this one on Facebook. People holding wads of money with lines like this next to it. I don't know nobody who don't want more money, but if you want to make some money tonight. With the solicitation comes instructions on where to meet people who can help you make this easy money. It's called card cracking. Young people being promised $1,500 or $3,000 for very little work, and the offers arrive via Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
Individuals are recruited either to give up their existing bank account or to open a new bank account. The bank account information is provided to our suspect.
The suspects then use mobile remote devices to deposit checks into the accounts. The timing of this scam is crucial.
The deposit typically takes place early in the evening after the bank's closed. The next business day, typically after midnight, the bank releases the funds into that account.
Victims are asked to make large, quick withdrawals before the bank reopens in the morning.
It takes several days for the bank to realize that deposited item is of no value. And so they're really exploiting the loophole.
Often the bank absorbs the losses or they demand the money back from the person on the account. The targets for car cracking are often young people between the ages of 19 and 20 who are socially savvy, eager for money, and inexperienced with the big banking world.
Never to give out your personal information over Facebook or any type of social media, or for that matter, over the telephone.
And that was our Sam Dick reporting. Here's what experts say parents should tell their college-age students. Never allow strangers access to your bank accounts for any reason. ATM cards and campus IDs that often double as ATM cards, along with PINs, need to stay private. Use hard-to-guess PINs on all accounts, and do not autofill passwords on mobile devices or computers.
A key staffer to Senator Rand Paul's presidential campaign is accused of breaking the law. Still ahead on WKYT News at 5:30, why Jesse Benton has been indicted on federal charges.
I'm Bill Bryant. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul readies for a primetime presidential debate tomorrow. Democrats go after the Republican nominee for governor, while an independent says he's ready to enter the race. The bottom line is ahead.
Big-time thunderstorms on the move across the area. We're tracking one on the Fayette-Clark County line, but I'll come back in just a moment.